Health and fitness requires more than just the physical work. It starts with the work you put in to grow your mind. Welcome to the Mind Gains podcast, where we discuss what it takes mentally to see results physically. I'm your host, Jess. Let's get started. Hello, welcome back to the Mind Gains podcast. I could not be happier that you're here. We do have a pretty big topic to go over today. Honestly, something that a lot of people I think tend to worry about a lot more than we really need to. So I want to talk today about how to navigate vacation, trips, any sort of travel really, whether it's for your work, your job, if you travel a lot, or if you are taking personal trips. The season for travel is going to be coming up here pretty quickly. It is almost the holiday season. So I think now is a good time to start going over all of this, the way we want to approach really any protocols when it comes to just us being out of our normal, typical day-to-day routine. And I think the biggest thing to acknowledge is that not all trips are going to be equal. We are definitely going to be approaching them differently, just dependent on what they are, how important they are to us, where we're going to be, what we're going to have access to, and also just the phase of life that we're in, whether we're in a cut or maintenance or bulking or whatever. It is going to be a little bit different person to person and situation to situation, but still wanting to kind of go over like how to navigate travel, trips, all the good stuff. The way I always like to kind of approach it is if I have a shorter getaway, maybe it's like a long weekend kind of thing, I'm just gone Friday to Sunday or Thursday to Sunday, I like to try to make those trips a little bit more structured. That way, when I do have more of like a personal trip coming up, I know that I can have more flexibility with that and not see as big of repercussions from it, if that makes sense. But it is also going to come down to just how many trips you're taking. For example, if you're someone who doesn't really travel often, you have maybe like 1 or 2 trips a year, you can get away with having more flexibility on those 1 or 2 trips that you're taking, as opposed to I'm in a calorie deficit, I'm trying to cut down my body fat percentage, and I have about 7 trips coming up this summer alone in like a 3-month time span. Obviously, we're going to have to just be more structured if we have that many trips coming up and if we're really in pursuit of a specific physique goal during that time. It's also probably going to be a little bit different if you are someone who travels more for work. You're probably going to want to utilize those work trips to be more on track and just more structured, have a better game plan, as opposed to a once in a lifetime trip. You're going to Europe, you've been saving your money, this is not going to happen very often, and you're going to go for like 2.5 weeks, right? Like in that situation, you're going to have more flexibility around that big Europe trip you've been planning, as opposed to the 4-day work trip that you have to go on because you're forced to, basically. So if you're someone who does have a lot of travel coming up, the first thing that you want to do is kind of look at everything ahead of time and really plan out which vacations or which trips you plan to stay more on track for, and then actually make a plan around it, as opposed to which ones are, more for personal, which ones are you wanting to loosen up a little bit and not go off the rails, but just have a little bit more flexibility and freedom on that trip. Once you do that, then you can kind of start looking at, okay, so this is the way I'm going to approach this trip. This is the way I'm going to approach the next trip. This is the way I'm going to approach my upcoming like Europe vacation at the end of the month. It's just going to be easier to kind of structure it all ahead of time and make sure that we are prioritizing which trips we want to have more of that flexibility with. But the biggest things that I could always recommend, regardless of whatever trip you're on, is always prioritizing your daily habits. That is going to be your step goal, your water goal, and your sleep. Sleep, super, super important all of the time, even if we're on vacation. It's definitely going to be harder to get sleep in, our full 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, especially if we are traveling with other people. We have like an itinerary we're going to follow, and we're going to be out super late, up really early in the morning. Obviously, it's going to be more difficult to get in your sleep, but doing your absolute best to get as much as you can. Going back to these core habits is what makes sure that you still have some structure and some plan in place, so you're not going completely off the rails for basically an entire week and then trying to come back from that vacation feeling really flustered and really out of it because you haven't paid attention to a single healthy habit, which are supposed to be your foundational healthy habits, for the past 7 days, and now you're trying to jump back in basically from ground zero. It allows us to just keep up with consistency enough to kind of keep us on track and make us feel our best while we're on vacation as well, right? Because I don't know about you, but I don't enjoy not feeling well when I'm on a trip. or when I'm just, I mean, really ever, but especially if I'm not home and I'm on vacation, I don't want to feel like crap because that's what happens when I don't get my sleep. I don't get my water. I have a horrible headache. If I'm not getting my steps in, I'm not moving my body, even if I'm not going to the gym, like I just don't feel great. My energy levels are low, and I don't want to feel that way when I'm on vacation. And then I also don't want to come back from that vacation feeling really crappy and having to, again, just kind of feel like I'm starting all over rather than having some sort of consistency even while I was gone. That way I can just pick right back up where I left off. So again, steps, water, sleep, making sure that you are still getting all of those three things in. If you can get your workouts in, that's great. There is absolutely nothing wrong with still maintaining your workout schedule, even if you're not doing quite as much as you normally would. I am usually in the gym for anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half a day just because I like to be there that long. I love working out at this point and I enjoy my time in the gym. It's like one of my favorite parts of the day. But if I'm on vacation, there's no way I'm spending an hour and a half working out during that time. So I'm still going to be in the gym more than likely if I have access to one, but it's going to be more like a 20 to 30-minute workout rather than an hour and a half. Like I'm still going, getting a few exercises in, making sure again to start my day with moving my body. That way I don't feel totally out of routine and really out of it for the time that I'm supposed to be really enjoying like my personal free time. Again, I want to feel my best all of the time, including when I'm on vacation. And then I will focus on making sure I'm moving around outside of that, getting my steps in, lighter activity, and all of that. When it comes to nutrition, the biggest thing I can always say is prioritizing protein at every single meal as much as you are able to. Is it going to kill you if you, in a week time span, have a couple meals that aren't based around protein? No. It's not, and it's not going to totally derail you. However, making sure that most of the meals that I'm having during that time has some sort of protein in it as like the main source is what's going to make sure that I'm still getting in at least a good amount, right? Like I can tell you right here, right now, with having a very high protein goal, if I'm not tracking, there is no way I am reaching my normal protein intake. But again, I'm still getting in at least I would say 75-80% of it each day. That is more than enough to kind of maintain where we're at or even potentially make progress even while on a vacation because I'm being mindful of the food choices that I'm making. I am absolutely not tracking my food if I'm on vacation. It's just not happening. I'm talking if it's a personal vacation, I'm not tracking my food. Now, I don't have to travel for work, but I know if I was traveling for work or if I was kind of doing something that I'm really just kind of like had to be there for, but it wasn't something that I was like, oh, I'm like excited about this trip and I want to really enjoy my time here, I would definitely be a lot more mindful of my food choices and I'd probably be loosely tracking. Basically, just meaning you're obviously not weighing out everything because you don't have access to do that, but you're just kind of eyeballing things, you're structuring your plate well, and again, you're just kind of getting a roundabout estimate idea of where your calories and your protein are at for the day to make sure that you're staying semi more on track. Now, again, going back to a more personal vacation, I will not be actually tracking anything. I will be, again, focused on getting in protein at pretty much every meal. Outside of that, we always want to plan ahead. If you are new here, this is like my favorite term. I love to plan. I love to plan ahead. I see how important it is. To be honest, I didn't always like to plan ahead. It's actually something that I had to grow and develop in. But once I realized how much easier it makes my life and how much more I'm able to be successful with everything I'm trying to do, it became a non-negotiable. Like it's just something that has to happen. And travel is not the time to not plan ahead. So usually just kind of walking you through what I'm doing before any sort of trip. I'm researching amenities. I'm researching where I'm staying. Am I going to be in a hotel? Am I going to be in an Airbnb? Am I going to be staying with family where I have access to a kitchen, a fridge? Am I going to have access to a gym? Is it going to be a pretty active trip where I'm going to be getting steps in and moving around a lot? Or is it more, visiting family and kind of sitting around most of the time? Especially if I'm staying in a hotel or an Airbnb, I'm always looking to see, okay, do they have a gym? Most of the time they do. If it's a hotel, what does it look like? Do they have pictures? Can I see what kind of equipment they have? Is it just dumbbell? Do they have a couple other options? That I'm not the most worried about because in the moment I can kind of make any adjustments as needed. Again, I'm definitely not hitting PRs while I'm on vacation because the equipment that they're going to have at that hotel gym is probably not going to be ideal for really working on your strength during that time. But again, that's not what it's about. It's really just about maintaining some sort of consistency and moving your body for that day. Outside of the gym, looking to see if they have a grocery store nearby, maybe right across the street, right around the corner I can walk to, and just make sure that I'm getting protein shakes, protein bars. If I wasn't able to kind of bring that stuff with me, seeing if there's a way that I can stock up on that stuff when I'm there, making sure that the hotel has a fridge, and again, just kind of building my plan around that. If I know they have a fridge, I'll probably be getting some sort of protein shakes, some waters, all of that to make sure I'm staying hydrated, I'm getting in my protein first thing in the morning, right after my lift. If they don't have a fridge, no worries. We work around it. We do our absolute best. We control what is in our control. And maybe instead of protein shakes, I'm grabbing some protein bars. Those don't need to be refrigerated. Quick, easy options to get in protein first thing in the morning and start your day off on the right foot with nutrition. Obviously, processed protein is not the most ideal, right? It's not the same as me coming home from the gym and eating steak and eggs or having some sort of breakfast sandwich, something more whole food based. But when you're traveling, you just focus on, maybe it's not perfect, but what is still in my control? What can I still make work in order to not throw out all of my healthy habits while I'm gone? Always planning ahead for travel days as well, whether you are flying or driving, making sure that you have healthy snacks with you so you're not tempted. If you're on a road trip, you're not as tempted to stop for fast food every few hours, stop at the gas station and get foods that maybe don't serve your goals at best and maybe aren't going to make you feel your best overall. So just making sure that you have gone grocery shopping ahead of time before that road trip. You are stocking up on some snacks that you would normally be eating. My go-tos are usually popcorners, cheese sticks, turkey sticks, fruit, protein bars, granola bars, that kind of thing. But again, just making sure you have something with you so you're not tempted to stop every time you get hungry. Travel days are also not an excuse for you to not hit your water intake. I know it's going to be really annoying that you probably have to stop more often on your road trip because you have to go to the bathroom every couple hours, but I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. Your body still needs that same water even if you're on a road trip. And to be honest, if I know that I'm doing a road trip or something like that and I have long travel days ahead of me, those are usually the days that I would want to be more on track because I probably am more in control of what I can actually eat that day. I know people who go on road trips frequently and meal prep all of their food ahead of time, and they eat chicken and rice cold, right out of the container in their car on the way to wherever they're going. They are eating their normal foods that they would typically eat while home, even if it's not hot. Even though they don't have access to a microwave, they're just eating it straight cold. I have seen people bring meal preps with them on a plane to stay on track for their travel days. No one's saying you can't do that. If you sit here and say you care so much about your goals that you will do whatever it takes to reach them, but then you turn around and you have a million trips coming up, and then you just kind of use that as an excuse to then not stick to your plan. Other people are doing it. Why can't you? Now, am I saying that you have to do that? No. Unless you're in bodybuilding prep, you don't have to do that. But I just kind of want to point that out because I think a lot of times we like to point to really everything, travel, vacation, whatever it is we have going on, and kind of throw our hands up and pretend like there's absolutely nothing that we can do to reach our goals that day. If your goals matter enough to you, you're going to find a way to get it done, even if you're eating cold chicken and rice. So not absolutely necessary, but just going to show that you will do whatever it takes if you're really serious about your goals. And by doing that, you cut down at least, a couple days of how much you're going to be off. And then guess what? You have more flexibility when you're on your actual trip once you reach your destination. If you really want to get some sort of workout in and you don't have access to a gym, guess what? Bodyweight workouts work really well. There's no reason that we can't do even a 20-minute HIIT workout, bodyweight workout, whatever we need to do to make sure that we're still taking care of ourselves while on vacation. There's no reason why, if you really want to get a workout done and you're really committed to your goals the way you think and the way you say you are, that we can't do a little bit of research ahead of time to see if there's any gyms surrounding our hotel. If the hotel doesn't have a gym for whatever reason, there's no reason that we can't see, hey, is there a local gym right around my hotel or wherever I'm staying that I could easily walk to, get a day pass or a week pass, and still get my lifts in? There's always something we can do. I'm not here to say that that's what you have to do. If you decide bodyweight workouts are good for me, HIIT workouts are good for me. I just want a really quick way to get some movement in before my day starts. That is more than okay. But I just don't want us to use us not being in our normal day to day as an excuse as to why we couldn't do anything. If we really wanted to stay on track, if we are taking a vacation and it's really important to us, we're like in the middle of our cut and we're like, man, I really want to lose these 20 pounds before my next trip coming up, the Euro trip that I care so much about, there's no reason that we can't cut down the amount that we're eating out during our trip. If that's what you want to do and that's really important to you, we can always work around whatever our circumstances are to make it work better for us. If you're taking a road trip and you know that you're staying in a hotel for a few days, you have access to a fridge, you're going to be eating out, but you also want to make sure that you're not eating out every single meal because you want to minimize the amount that you're off plan during that specific trip. Why don't we plan ahead of time to make overnight oats? Put overnight oats in a container, pack them up, bring them with you on your road trip, stick them in the fridge. You have your breakfast every morning. Bring snacks. You don't have to stop for snacks. Now you really only have lunch and dinner each day. Or maybe you decide you only want to do one meal out each day. So you do your overnight oats and you find a lunch to make as well. That way you can meal prep it ahead of time, bring it with you just the same way you're bringing your overnight oats. Now you only have to eat out dinner. Now, that's obviously not the case if we're flying, but again, there's always something that we can do if we look at everything ahead of time and we actually make a plan for us to be successful in it. Now, leading up to the trip, we don't want to restrict or try to, prepare nutritionally for that trip, thinking that we're going to be a little bit more off plan, almost like saving calories and under eating right before we leave to try to minimize the consequences of our travel. If we restrict leading up to that trip, it's going to make it a lot harder to stick to our plan and not go crazy off the walls while we're on vacation. And I know this because I did this. I have restricted right before a vacation, a good 2 weeks before leaving, and I went so overboard once I left. If I wouldn't have done that, if I would have just eaten the way that I regularly eat and been okay with being a little bit more off plan on that trip, I definitely would not have eaten the way that I did while on that vacation. But on the other side of it, we also don't want to say, okay, well, I have this trip coming up. I leave on Friday. So that means, I'm going to allow busyness and preparing for this travel and whatever else I have going on to be an excuse as to why I'm not hitting things the way that I need to, all leading up to that trip and right when I get back home. We really want to cut down the amount of time that we are more off plan. So, for example, if you do have a long weekend trip coming up, let's say you are leaving Friday through Sunday, you want to hit everything super spot on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You go on your vacation Friday to Sunday. Once you're back, Monday, you are right back to hitting things the way that you need to, especially if you have a lot of travel. We cannot say, I have 3 trips coming up in the next month and a half. So I'm going to be off plan for those trips, but then the 2 days leading up to that trip, I'm super busy. So I'm going to allow busyness and being unprepared to be the reason that I'm not hitting my nutrition targets the way that I need to. And when I get back home, I'm still not prepared. So it takes me a day or two to get back into the swing of things and start hitting things again the way that I need to. And then we leave again the following weekend. And it's just like this vicious cycle of being way off track, way more than what was necessary. If you stick to the days that you are actually gone and allow every other day to be super spot on leading up to that vacation and coming right back from it, you not being perfect for those few days that you're gone is actually not going to really matter that much in the grand scheme of things because you approached it that way, because you cut down on the amount of time that you're not reaching your targets the way you need to. So the way you want to start viewing it is, yeah, I'm gone Friday through Sunday this week. Every other day, it's going to be perfect. I'm not missing my habits. I'm not missing water, steps, sleep. I'm not missing my nutrition. I'm not missing my workouts. I'm getting them all done. That way, I have more flexibility on my trip and I can come back feeling confident that I did everything needed and I was only off for a few days rather than 5 to 6. And then when we come back, we're also not doing any sort of restriction at that point. We are just getting right back into whatever our normal routine is and allowing our body to stabilize. I'm going to prepare you ahead of time. If you are traveling, there is a 99.99999% chance you're going to come back, the scale is going to be up. Does not matter how well you do, does not matter if you do perfectly on your trip. It's going to happen. So I actually recommend you not even stepping on the scale for probably a good 3 to 4 days once you're back home, if that's something that's going to bother you. If you know that seeing a higher weigh-in is going to kind of get to you mentally, don't even do it. Wait until you've given your body a few days at least to start getting back into a routine. That way, it can release some of that water that it's holding on to, can release the inflammation, and we can start working our weight back down to our normal spot. Because I can promise you, especially if you approached vacation just being mindful of what you're eating, making 1% better decisions, and not going completely off the rails, you did not actually put on the 3 or 4 pounds that the scale is going to say that you did. You would have to really go crazy all in basically the whole time if you're gone for a few days in order to actually put on even a few real pounds of body fat. So we don't need to stress over the scale. We just know that almost certainly the scale is going to be up when we come back home. We just need to get right back into what we were doing before. Let's not undereat. Let's not overdo cardio. Let's not overdo it in our workouts. We're just going to do what we normally would do and allow our body the time to kind of stabilize and come back down from that trip, and we'll be more than good. And we'll keep moving forward. So again, every vacation, every trip is going to be a little bit different, dependent on so many different factors and honestly how important it is to you. But the core foundational pieces that I can always say is, again, focusing on your steps, your water, your sleep, and prioritize protein in every meal. The idea is to just keep some sort of consistency so that you're not like shocked coming back from your trip. And honestly, nothing is worse than coming back from a vacation feeling awful because you went absolutely crazy. Vacation is not a permission slip for you to just give up all of your healthy habits and go bonkers overboard. It's an opportunity for you to get to enjoy your time, enjoy your trip, whatever you're doing, but you do have a different lifestyle now. If you have embarked on this journey, you are changing your lifestyle, which means you don't approach things the same way. You don't approach vacation the same way. You don't go absolutely crazy just because you're not home. You don't do things exactly the same way you probably would if you were home. You enjoy more things in moderation. You maybe don't get your full lift in, but that's okay. What's not okay is viewing it as an excuse and as a reason to just do absolutely nothing. That's not you making this a lifestyle at that point. But as with everything, there is absolutely a balance to this because some of us, we're going to view vacation as that excuse to go crazy all in, but some of us are going to view vacation as terrifying and be so worked up about being off plan for a few days that we are going to stress ourselves out over it and then never want to travel. And if you are in that category, I'm going to speak to you right now that a few days or even a few weeks of being a little off plan, again, especially if you are just being more mindful, it's not going to ruin your progress. I promise you, you will come back from that vacation. The scale will probably be a little up, like I just said, but that's okay. It's always going to happen. It's pretty much always going to happen to everyone. We get back to consistency, your body will stabilize. If you approach vacation with mindfulness and with, just being more on track, leading up to it, coming back from it, and not going absolutely crazy, that vacation, even if you're gone, you're in Europe for 3 weeks, it's not going to make or break your progress. I promise you. You will be more than okay. We can't view vacation as a permission slip to just do whatever we want, but we also can't view vacation as this thing that's going to absolutely set us back in our goals and derail all of our progress, because that's just not true. Last year, I went to Italy for 10 days. Now, on this trip, I did have more flexibility. I did not get lifts in because we were staying with family in a very secluded area and there were no gyms there. But I still got lots of steps in. I still got in as much water and protein as I could, but I definitely had more sweets and desserts and all the good stuff and carbs that I am not used to eating while I'm home or while I'm on some other trips. I came back from Italy and the scale was up 10 pounds. I did not gain 10 pounds while I was in Italy. That was coming from different foods, more carbs, which makes you hold on to more water weight, inflammation, higher cortisol levels because I wasn't sleeping as well because of the jet lag, did my best with sleep, but it definitely wasn't up to par of where it normally is on a day-to-day basis. So for all of those reasons and more, the scale was up 10 pounds. I didn't freak out. I didn't do anything extra outside of what I would normally do. I just got right back to what I was doing before. And within a week and a half, the scale was back down to my starting point. So that's what I mean by if the scale bothers you, please do not step on the scale for again, at least the first 3, 4, maybe 5 days once you get back home. Just get back to what you were doing before. Don't worry about what the scale says because I promise you it's going to come back down as long as you approach it that way. So I hope this helps you feel more prepared with any upcoming travel you have going on. Again, especially as we get into end of year holidays, festivities, all the things, as people are going to be traveling a little bit more probably. But just know that you can absolutely travel, still enjoy yourself in moderation, and keep yourself in alignment with whatever your goals are, and come back from vacation not feeling like you just threw out all of your results because you went overboard. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. If you have any questions, of course, my DMs are always open. Outside of that, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We will talk next time.